Our Xfinity Series driver has joined us. He's the driver of the number 62 South Point Chevrolet. Brendan Gaughan, we're going to start here in just a few seconds. But it's been brought to my attention that Brendan will be making his 400th career.
Is it?
That's
really?
What I was told. 400th career NASCAR Xfinity Series start.
Xfinity start or total start? NASCAR start.
NASCAR start. Okay. Tomorrow night.
I am old.
Tomorrow night here in NASCAR at the Kentucky Speedway. And that milestone will come on another milestone date for him.
Thanks.
As some 40-odd years ago, he was brought into this world.
Not 40-odd. 40 exact.
40
Come on
exact.
Now. Let's
years
don't
ago.
age me any more than I got.
That's right. So we'll go ahead and wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
Brendan, and hopefully you can celebrate tomorrow night in Victory Lane. But we'll go ahead and get started with Brendan. Brendan, I'm going to ask you this question. You've raced up here in Kentucky several times, obviously, and you've been up here doing some appearances and media things previously. So just talk about your thoughts about this racetrack, the surface, and the type of racing that it provides.
No, look, we know I love Kentucky. I mean, we won it last year, and it's really the last track in the sport that hasn't repaved in this real next generation of modern stuff. So I've been barking for years that anytime they use that R word, I'm going to smack them upside the head and tell them no. You know, yeah, it's rough, it's bumpy, it wears tires out, but I think right now we have too many tracks that are repaved and are still aging, and they're aging well, but it's, you know, this track really is very special and unique right now because of how the asphalt is aged and what it does to your tires and the setups you have to run. So I'm a huge fan of this place before I won here and since. So I've always loved Kentucky. It's always been a track that I've run well at, whether it was trucks, whether it was, you know, there's only been one really bad memory here, and that was testing for poor Ray Evernham a long, long time ago when I was still a truck driver and I wrecked a car in 12-degree weather. So other than that, that's the only bad memory I got of Kentucky. I love this place.
Good deal. We'll take questions now for Brendan. We'll start in the front row right here with Mark, if you can get him the mic, and then we'll go to Kelly and then Chris.
Mark Carroll, PRN.
What's your name again?
Brad. Is that it?
Sorry.
The race you won last year here at Kentucky was one of the best, I thought, Xfinity Series races we had last season. What was the most satisfying part of that race? Because it really didn't look like yours, and then you sort of wrestled it away at the end.
We were fast early. We led some laps early, and then track position is a big deal here, and we faded a little bit. And at the end, it was all, what I loved the fact was restarts. How my whole career, going back to the 90s, I've focused a lot on restarts. And Shane Wilson and Harley Roush, who is still with me today, and an old engineer named Dwayne Knorr, who still works for Bill McAnally part-time. He's the guy, those three guys are the guys that got me to work really hard on restarts. And I remember getting beat in my 20s, you know, by Johnny Benson and Kenny Schrader running Winston West and running some truck races and having Jack Sprague and Ron Hornaday beat you on restarts and everybody saying they're the best at it. Don't feel bad, they're the best at it. And I said, I want my name in that group. So for me, the most fun was 2 restarts in a row, passing guys and doing it all on restarts to get that done. And then once we got the lead, we drove away, so it was kind of nice. But it, you know, to be able to do it with restarts was what really made me smile, because I love putting so much emphasis on our transmission ratios and how hard I work on doing that.
Let's go to Kelly and then to Chris.
Kelly Crandall from PopularSpeed.com. Brendan, you said preseason that getting those 2 wins last year really elevated the confidence in this 62 team. It showed you guys that you could do it. And you were really excited about what could happen this year. So halfway through the season, sitting 9th in points, what is that confidence now? What's the outlook look?
The team feels great. You look at our stats, 3 restrictor plate races. 3 restrictor plate races have cost us 92 points. And then the 4th race is Texas, when the 14 car blew a right front tire. We're running 4th and just, you know, passing him in the middle of a run, and he just had a blown right front tire. And Murphy's Law says, I'm going to get hit. Those 4 races have cost us over 120 points, and we're 130 points out of the championship. So, I mean, that's the really bummer part, is that this point system is so hard to gain points, but so easy to lose them. The guys all have great confidence. You know, Daytona last week, we're 5th when you know, we got put into a sandwich. The week before we were fast. We qualified for the Dash for Cash coming up in a couple weeks at Indy. So, I mean, we are fast, and we've been running great. We just don't always have the finish number to show for it. But, man, we're fast. We're up front. We've led laps. We're doing all the things we need. And the Dirty South shop at RCR will win again. We'll get there.
Let's go to Chris right behind Kelly. Go ahead, Chris.
ChrisKnightCatchNess.com.
Right now you look like the guy from, you know, what was that show?
At least I'm not Godfather, right?
No, you were God earlier this year. So.
I know, yeah. So, anyway,
Did it intentionally.
yeah. You're a driver that doesn't like to hear the word repave at Kentucky Speedway. You've said that a long time. Is it the fact that you're just comfortable with this racetrack? Is that why you don't want to see it repaved? Or is it just the fact that it suits yours and some other driver style?
Well, I mean, first, okay, it fits. Yeah, so I'm being biased by saying it fits my style. It is something that I like. But right now, if there's one race car on the track, all of us are on the track. So it's not like one guy gets a section of the racetrack that's paved and one guy gets a section that's unpaved. It's the same for everybody. Every crew chief has to figure out how to get around it. Every driver has to figure out how to get around it. And everybody, some do better than others. But the main thing I like is right now our sport, everybody talks about, and I love how you all put the word dreaded in front of aero push. It's like you're not allowed to say the word aero push unless you put dreaded in front of it. They've had aero push since 1911 when they raced at Indianapolis in the very first race there. They had aero push. Guess what? You will always have a push in a race car if somebody's in front of you. But here, it's more of an old school race because the tires have to wear out. All these tracks have repaved, and what's amazing is technology. Michigan repaved, what was the last time before they did it 5 years ago? Anybody remember? Gluck, anybody? What was it, 1960? Somebody? It was 30, 40 years since they had repaved Michigan. The technology that went into repaving Michigan was more technology than they paved the original one with. And they've done a brilliant job. The asphalt's staying better. It's lasting longer. So you have all these new tracks, and how many tracks have been repaved in the last 7, 8 years? I mean, if I said a dozen, would I be... Okay, so at least a dozen. So a lot of tracks have this new technology with this great grip that Goodyear has to build a tire that's so indestructible because of the heat and the speeds, and NASCAR's trying to make rules to change all these things. You have a racetrack that NASCAR, all they have to do is put the car on the track. The tire wears out. You see differences in speed. What do we lose? 3, 4 seconds over a run, maybe 5 over a run here. It's just like an old school race, and I'm an old guy that likes it with tires wear out. What do I know about weepers? I've seen new paved tracks have weepers. When they paved Iowa, we went to Iowa one of the first times, and it was leaking everywhere. You know, that's just the hand of God that says we're going to wait a few minutes. What they do about them, NASCAR and the tracks have people that know how to cut them and drain them and do all those sorts of things. And, you know, I'm not technologically advanced enough to know, but basically you just wait them out. That's all we can do.
Any other questions for Brendan? Go ahead, Chris.
Remember your original question now?
That was my original question. This is about Sunday stuff.
Okay.
I know Reed Sorensen's in the 62 this weekend. Is that just a one-race deal, or can you give us a status on your Cup deal?
No, Jay Robinson has been super duper nice to me. Really appreciate what Jay did, and it helped me a lot in these early races. If you look at my average start, and maybe Morgan knows my average start compared to last year to my average start compared to this year is probably 8 to 10 places higher as a whole, and I attribute a lot of that to running that Cup car because it got me on the tracks first. It got me feeling a little bit more confident when I got to the Xfinity program. But you know what? I got 2 kids. I turn 40 tomorrow, and the amount of time it was taking and the amount of effort that I could give Jay to try to make his team better and the amount of effort he can put into it, you know, to make it better monetarily and business-wise, it was just a little too difficult for me to want to keep up with. So I it was mutual. It wasn't like there was a firing and MFing, you suck, you suck. I like Jay a lot. I was at the shop this week hanging out with him and the guys, telling them all thank you and really appreciate the hard work that Scott Eggleston puts into that thing. You know, they don't have many guys working on it. That's a little bitty team that has a very few guys in the shop, and they work hard, and I appreciate them and appreciate how hard they tried to work for me. But I'm gonna go back and have a couple free weekends here, and one of them is Halloween now, which also happens to be my son's 5th birthday. So I'll have that week off to spend with the kids and enjoy a little bit of time, extra day with the boys.
Anything else for Brendan?
Wilson, that was it. Mr. Wilson. Hi, Mr. Wilson.
Okay, Brendan, thank you so much, and good luck this weekend at Kentucky. Hope
Thanks,
you can
Gabe.
defend that championship.
Appreciate it.